Well, I'm sure after reading the title to this video, you're probably feeling a little uncomfortable, especially if you're white and American. Maybe you're also thinking, damn man, how exactly do you think this is gonna help your YouTube channel? I might have even pissed a few people off so badly that they just stopped the video completely. That would be too bad though, because at the end of the day, this is a really important topic, and while I do want to make folks a bit uncomfortable, because that's where growth happens, if you stick with me, I have a feeling you might feel somewhat better by the end. First, let me get this out of the way though. I'm a white, Scots-American cisgender man. I identify as queer, my lovely partner and our kids are black. I am also racist. Yep, I said that. I am racist. And my partner doesn't hate me for it, but there's a catch. More on that later. And no, I'm not telling y'all this as some sort of huge, cathartic, coming out about my racism video. I come out about being racist every day. Mainly, I just want y'all, my white viewers in particular, to know that I'm not trying to pretend I'm better than any of you in some way. Why am I not embarrassed to tell y'all I'm racist? There's a lot to unpack in that, and that's the aim here. But first off, it's because if you're a white American like me, whether you were born in this country or not, you are too. I'm not special in this way, and neither are you. Let's break this down. First off, everybody in the world functions every day with something called implicit biases. I've linked some great resources that go into detail about it, but briefly, implicit bias is a trick our brains use to quickly interpret the world based on messages, experiences, and relationships that we've developed in our lives. Implicit biases are not always negative. For example, people who identify as Christian often have a positive bias toward other people who identify in the same way. For those folks, their experiences in their spiritual community have led them to make favorable snap judgments about other Christian folks. There are some dark sides to that as well though, as you might imagine. Racism is a form of very negative implicit bias. Same with homophobia, transphobia, misogyny, and so on. But racism is not as simple as bias. Those black folks who hold negative biases about other black folks aren't racist. They can't be. How? Here's where it gets a little trickier. See, racism is a system, not an inherent thing. Same with race, by the way. That means it's a series of rules, stereotypes, hierarchies, and so on that people concocted, both intentionally and unconsciously, over decades and centuries, not a scientific fact. Anyone who tells you otherwise is either very confused or lying to you, or both. See, as a system, racism and homophobia, misogyny, and so on are rooted in power. Power is the execution of bigotry. It's the dark side of the force, so to speak. Thus, in a system where a group is biased against, that group is subsequently denied power, be that in the form of money, political sway, or whatever, sometimes all of the above. They are marginalized. So, in the United States, people of color have been systematically characterized as undesirable, and as a result denied money, self-determination, voting rights, and more in order to maintain that structure. Other folks, in this case white Americans, have as a result benefited, often unconsciously, from the huge gap in between. Over time, this has tipped the scale so far to one side that without a very strong and ubiquitous push back, people of color have nearly no hope of attaining equity or equality in the system. So, a black person may carry racist stereotypes about their racial or ethnic community, but they do not have the systematic power to oppress themselves. In our system, only white people have that, and most especially white, wealthy, heterosexual, cisgender men. At this point, perhaps you think, look, I'm not burning crosses or beating up people of color, but I can't control the benefits other people give me. Maybe you figure I can't avoid all these messages and things, and I've had some really bad experiences with folks from this group or that group. I hope you're also asking, what can I do about this? In the world as it exists, it's likely that in our lifetimes we won't be able to completely eliminate the unearned privileges and benefits of the system, or achieve true equity across every group. That shouldn't be disheartening though. The conscious bigots who had a hand in manufacturing these systems were hardly distressed that it might take a while to build them. There's a lot of work to do. What we can do is this. First, we can reflect on the unearned privileges that we receive. By acknowledging them rather than avoiding them, we're able to recognize the power that they hold. Second, we need to be okay with being uncomfortable. I think this might be the most important part. Marginalized groups live in discomfort every day because of these systems. The least we owe to them is to sit in the discomfort that recognizing that inspires in us. Third, when we see something, we need to say something. If you notice racism or a racist image, if you notice a racist statement or what have you, point it out. Even if you said it, it's better to acknowledge it than let it slide. Number 4, don't be complicit. Even if we can't totally flip the script, each on our own, we don't have to follow the pack when they are being problematic. And finally, we need to demand better. From ourselves, from our families, and from our communities. So yeah, every single white American is racist. What we do with that information is what makes all the difference.